Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, and we are back for the BBL season of SuperCoach. It has been a short month coming off the back of the SuperCoach finals, but we are back. We're here joined by Jake, the coach of we don't know our team names, so we're going to introduce them right now. Jake, what is your team name? And first of all, how have you been?
Yeah, good. We had, a brief chat, me and you, Savs. A bit of an NRL one with the predicted thing. So it's kind of the first one with Mikey that I've had in a while. But yeah, been good. My team name, I'll go for the Sydney Thunder, as you can see here. And last year I went with Hailstorm and had a good year. So I'm going to back up the same name and go with Hailstorm.
Going the same name again, does that mean because you had a good year with NRL that you're possibly going to back up with the same name?
I think so. May as well go with what's working. So.
Well, very good. Well, personally, I went with an NRL theme, which I don't know what I was doing at the time, but my name is the Weak Gully Dogs. I don't know where that came from, but Weak Gully Dogs, we'll take it.
I mean, I do like it. It's called the cricket, little cricket innuendo.
Yeah, little cricket innuendo. We're here joined by Mikey as well. How are you, Mikey?
Yeah, it's good to be back, boys. Sticking with Jake, my name's very similar to my NRL one because, I don't like to change too much. I don't like to play around with it. That's my label. If I win one day, I want to win with it. So I'm Trip Cricket Mafia. So switching the jacket for cricket. And like Jake, I've had that for a couple of seasons now. And but every time I've had that as my name, I've gone killer. So 200th last year, which was worse than Jake, and then 40th the year before, and then 600th the year before that. So I'm on a hot streak. So I want to continue it this year.
I've always been the Savage Strikers for BBL SuperCoach.
So what are you doing, man?
I'm pretty happy with that team name, but I've decided to change it up this year because last few years in BBL SuperCoach, I haven't quite done the best. My highest rank in the last 3 years is 3,000th, and I think I peaked at about 70th at one point. So I have done all right, but even though cricket's probably the sport I know more about than rugby league.
It's funny how it works, hey, because you know cricket way more than me, but I just think that style of SuperCoach just suits my style of play, just the chasing the doubles, and it's such a fun format to play.
So obviously we're here for the BBL SuperCoach. We're going to talk tactics today. We're going to go through the Thunder, the Stars, the Strikers, and if we get time, we'll go to the Renegades and we'll try and get the best options, the best value options, and also the best guns/keepers to bring into your side. So obviously 3 of them sides have the double game week, and the Renegades is the first team to have another double game week without having a bye. So we'll hopefully get to them by the end of the episode. But yeah, kicking off, the summer of cricket starts tomorrow. We are back with the Test cricket, and I'm so excited. Jake, what are your thoughts on cricket season? And are you as excited for the summer as I am, or is it just kind of like a pre-drinks to the NRL season?
I'm definitely not as excited as you. I think me and Mikey can we'll both attest to that. You are very keen for the cricket season. I watch it here and there, more so the Big Bash. I guess it's a shorter form of game. Take a few mates that aren't quite as into cricket as I am and sort of enjoy an afternoon. I'll have the cricket on the TV or the Test matches. So, I mean, by the end of it, you're kind of like, can you hurry up and bring the NRL season on? But sort of the first couple of months is definitely a good watch because there's nothing else on.
It does get like that, especially by the end of the season. It's kind of like, oh, this is still on, but nonetheless, it's still quite exciting. Nothing beats NRL season. Let's be honest. Mikey, what are you looking forward to most in this summer?
Well, yeah, if we're talking about cricket, I'm keen for it. Just mainly keen for the Big Bash. I kind of stopped watching the other methods, or the format, of cricket. I think if you're doing well in your SuperCoach with it, it just makes it so much fun to watch. I'm interested to see how the teams go. I know the draft was a bit of a flunk, and we've had a lot of late changes and lots of people change out, but the sides are looking different. There's a couple of new faces in each side, so I think we're going to kind of have a shift this season. So I'm looking forward to some of these Pakistani players go, and I'm keen to see how the Thunder go too. So. I'm on Team Jake with the Thunder, so yeah, very keen for the Big Bash to start.
It's funny how you mentioned the draft flunk. I think the first 3 top players have pulled out of the competition already. So, yes, the draft has flunked, but this is what happens with the international players. They're not the best part of the game. Honestly, I think it's the local talent, the Jordan Silks that come out every time this year, the Chris Lynns, and we're going to talk about lots of them throughout the next couple of weeks. BBL SuperCoach. It starts in 3 weeks, and we're going to kick off with the double game week players. Sorry?
Starts in 2 weeks, doesn't it?
Just
3 weeks?
I think today that their post is saying 2 weeks till BBL. I swear I saw a Facebook post.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. It starts on the 14th, I'm pretty sure. So,
that's
just
two weeks.
Yep. Just over 2 weeks. I don't know where I got my stats from. Bloody hell. Yeah. On the weekend, I stayed in Cronulla. We went to a hotel, and I booked for next year. And all the hotels were booked up. So, when I got to the hotel, I was like, we booked for the weekend. And I was like, I looked at it. They said, no, we haven't got Brandon Savage here. And I looked, and it was for next year. So this is how bad I get dates wrong. Let's kick it off with the Stars. The Stars start off with a double game week, and let's hit it off with the guns. Jake, let's kick it off with you. What is your first gun that you want to get into your side?
Well, he's not really at a gun price, but he has been a gun pass. And I think Marcus Stoinis is probably going to be a lock for every single team for the Stars. And I guess before we continue on with the players, the Stars, although they do have the double game week this week, they have to buy the week after.
Yeah,
so
I actually
don't load up on them because you're going to have to probably punt them or bench them the week after.
It's quite funny. I actually messed up this because I was meant to go Thunder first, but nonetheless, we'll start with the Stars. But yes, Marcus Stoinis, 83K. I've put 2 categories down. I put guns and value / cheapies, and he's in the guns section considering he's at 83,000.
He's a must-have.
Yeah, he's a must-have. I mean, the year before, I think he was 250K when he was batting bowling. He's doing both for Australia now. I think he'll be doing the same for the Stars. So yeah, he's going to be a lock opening the batting. I think you're going to have him from the start.
Mikey, Marcus Stoinis over the last few years, his bowling role in the Stars side has really gone downhill. I think that's going to pick up again this season, considering in the World Cup, he did bowl a few games where he bowled 3 or 4 overs. We've got...
And, no Glenn Maxwell as well, I think is a big one for the Stars. I don't think they're going to perform as well without him, but I think also that's one less bowler. He sometimes bowls between 2 and 4, so I think that only is a positive for Stoinis.
I think so too, and I think he was carrying a bit of a niggle throughout the previous seasons. Looks like he's kind of back to full health, so I think that's a good watch. But that being said, everyone's going to have him, so it's probably not really much of a debate. Adam Zampa, 103,000. Jake, will you be going near Adam Zampa?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a value bet. I think on previous seasons, he's a lot better than what he's priced at. I think COVID kind of hit a bit of the Stars worse than everyone else, and I think he's definitely on the up. And I think he can, in a double game week, he's going to be one of the top scorers. So Zampa's definitely in my team.
Mikey, will you be picking up Zampa?
Yeah, so a hot take for you, Sabs, and I kind of like starting with Stars first because I feel like this is the one team I personally am not going to load up on. I'm only picked 2 on my side, and it's the 2 first that you mentioned just there. Price is right. They're both underpriced from what they can do. And this season, I feel like the key to the team will be mid-rangers. I love my mid-rangers. There's so many fallen guns. It was the key to last year, picking up McDermott at the right time. Finch was dirt cheap, and he did fire at some point in the season. It's going to be the key. So I think Zampa and Stoinis are 2 handy ones. Stoinis, you're going to probably hold for most of the season. Zampa, you can kind of flip, but the strategy I'll be doing is just in case Zampa doesn't bowl too great, I'll have him on the bench and I'll be using the emergency loop in each of my sections. So although I'll only be playing 9 double players, I'll be set up to possibly use 11. So the price is right for Zampa. I personally like it. And I just think it's better to save the money for guns from the Thunder and the Strikers personally, because there's a lot to choose from there. And you don't have to deal with the bye the next week. You've also got to think, how are you going to flip these plays into Jai Richardson, Mitchell Marsh, you're going to need expensive plays to flip over. So that's kind of why I'm avoiding all the stars, although there are some good options, as we're going to mention. What about you, Sabs? Zampa?
Yeah, I'm starting with Zampa at the moment. It's funny you do mention you need these expensive players because it's also a risk. If they have a bad first double game week and they drop 80K, that's very possible if they get 2 ducks in a row if they're a batsman. So I think we'll lead it off with this question. I'm sorry, Shauno VRAT, you've been asking a couple of questions, but we'll lead this into that. What's your top three? Oh, actually, wrong one. How many double game week players is best to start? I was thinking 3 max. Personally, I'm going to go with more than that, but with the stars situation, I'm a bit off track at the moment. Where was I going with this?
So I don't know where you're going with it because we're talking about Zampa, but I was basically saying like how many double plays I'm going to stack and the way I'm rotating my bench. I think maybe that's what sparked it. But to answer that guy's question, I reckon personally with the triple game week and the Thunder having back to back, I reckon you could go anywhere from 8 to 11. I know we hear a lot of big players say overstacking on the double game weeks is toxic. I'm telling you, me and Jake only got to where we were from on these weeks, absolutely loaded into the shithouse with them. And as I said, I'm going to run 9 out of 11, but I have the opportunity if Zampa and Gilks go good, I'll have 11. So I think setting up your bench like that will be smart. Hold some scorches, and then you've got a free loop. So they're the tactical things. I've got lots of plans to set that up. But there's so much mid-range guys and cheap guys for you to stack that many.
For people who are playing BBL for the first time, there is an emergency loop section. So in your wicketkeeper, batsman, and bowler section, you can have an auto emergency player that you select. So if one of the players in your starting role from each position, you can get auto emergency for that. So that's a pretty good feature in BBL SuperCoach.
Sabs, I've got a question with that one just because it confuses me and I know it'll confuse some other people. If you looped one player in your wicketkeeper section, are you able to also get another free loop? Can you use one in each position? I'm pretty sure you can, hey?
One in each position.
That's handy to know. So literally, it's not like NRL SuperCoach. You could use 3 of them. So I think that's why it's perfect.
I'm pretty sure you can actually do 2 from the same position because you can throw 2 emergencies on, say, a batsman. You'd obviously need 2 players to pull out, and you'd get both of them. But typically we just do one batter, one bowler. We kind of you can maybe rotate with your batsman to do that, but usually
and with Stars and Thunder, going first, I think they're the perfect guys to chuck these emergencies on.
Well, that's a nice tactic, Mikey. We were going to start with tactics, but it's good that we've incorporated the tactics within the players as well. Moving on, Joe Clark at 153,000. He looks like he might open the batting or bat 3. I think we'll coincide this with Hilton Cartwright at 122,000. Whoever gets the opening batting position, do you think is going to be an option, Jake?
Yeah, Joe Clark hasn't really been setting the world on fire in the the T10, whatever that competition is. He hasn't been going too well, but I've got him sort of penciled in as one of my options for the double game week, and then 150K is going to be an easy flip to one of the Scorchers bowlers.
Jesus, Mikey.
I've got a bird Avery outside, bro, and I'm kicked in the back room. There's nothing I can do.
Oh, geez.
This is old school Mike and Sabs here.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing I can do, fella. Sorry.
It's funny. I remember I made this meme once, and it was with you in this forest because you'd always have background noises like that.
And we're back.
Yeah, I agree, Jake. Joe Clark, personally, for mine, typically trends to do well in the later stages of the competition. So a lot of these Englishmen and imports tend to take a while to get used to the Aussie conditions. So I'll look at targeting them later in the competition. They have a double game week in round 9. So Joe Clark, he'll probably be bottomed out by then. I think he's a good option to target in round 9. That being said, I did say the imports usually take a while to settle in, but I'm very hot on Trent Bolt at 180,000. I think he's the perfect T20 type bowler. We'll get wickets nice and early and we'll bowl at the death. Mikey, what are your thoughts on Trent Bolt?
Yeah, definitely considered him. I think he's a good option. Back on Joe Clark, I agree with you, Sabs. I'm not too keen on him to start. He started really slow, but he also showed what he could do in double game weeks last year. But yeah, going with Bolt. Haven't seen him play too much. I know like because I haven't been watching the Test and International. I really just click into gear of all the stats now. But yeah, he's just a top price player that I think a lot of people are going to get with his past resume. So, as I said, I'd prefer spending that money on, making sure I can get Sam's, Matt Short, who I know have the chance to bat and bowl. And also, if I had to go between Bolt, I'd probably prefer Sanger from the Thunder, who we'll get to, for the same price, and he's got a chance of bat and bowling. So, yeah, I'm personally not keen on spending any more than the Adam Zampa top shelf price on any of these guys because I just don't know how they're going to go without Maxwell. Yeah, they've still got some talent, but really, if the first three batters go out, I don't know. I think Maxwell's leadership is so crafty to their side. So, I'm not sold on them.
Do you have any idea who's going to be their captain, Jake? Nick Manson play for them?
No, he's moved clubs, I think.
Renegades.
Yeah.
I reckon it'd be Zampa. You reckon?
Could be.
Yeah.
Zamps. I reckon it'd be Zamps. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Zamps. Or Joe. No, Joe Burns. No, sure.
All right. I guess they're the guns. They're playing the first game. So if I see Hilton Cartwright on that list at opening batsman, he's a good shout, and he's someone I could definitely see starting in my side at 122,000. Him and Stoinis, their partnerships in the past have been crazy, and I see him doing well if he gets that opening position spot. We've got some value options here. Nathan Coulter-Nile at 103,000. With Trent Bolt coming in the side, Trent Bolt's going to be that strike bowler, but sometimes it is better being that second string bowler because that they worry about seeing the strike bowler out, and then the second string bowler comes in and takes the wickets. What are your thoughts on
still bowl four? He'd still bowl four though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, for sure. They all will.
Yeah.
So Bolt, Zampa, Coulter-Nile will bowl four. Bolt, Zampa, Coulter-Nile, and then there'll be
Stoinis could take some, and then they'll like Brody Couch or someone like that will bowl. Hinchcliffe, depends what they want. Because
I think
it'll be Couch.
Sam Elliott at 62,000. He just made his Shield debut on the weekend, got 3 wickets and 80 not out. So if he gets a start as well, I'll probably start with him on my bench and do exactly what you're going to do with Adam Zampa, Mikey.
Yeah.
Jake, what are your thoughts on first Coulter-Nile?
See, I don't know. They got a lot of players that can probably bowl a few overs. And last season, I don't know. I think he might have been battling a bit of injury, but Coulter-Nile was kind of missing every second or third game. I don't know if he's got a long injury history. I read a bit, and he's kind of quite injury prone. So the price is nice, but I'm staying away from him. I'd rather a player that's locked into 4 overs, where I'm not too sure if Nathan Coulter-Nile is. In the past, he has been, but last couple of seasons, he's kind of seen a bit of a decline in his health. So, and you mentioned a few other guys, Elliott. They've got what Brody Crouch, Wood from England, who was one of their draft picks. So they got quite a lot of bowlers. I guess the value picks or the cheapy ones who could make a bit of coin is more their batters. Losing Maxwell opens up some spot at the top. You mentioned Hilton Cartwright. They've got Nick Larkin. He's going to be cheap. Joe Burns is going to be cheap. Bo Webster's going to be cheap. So and Webster can also bowl. I think he's been bowling a bit in Shield cricket, or
he has. He's been bowling pace though, so it'll be interesting.
He bowled BBL too last season.
He bowled off spin for the BBL, so I assume he'll kind of do what the boys want him to do, which will be interesting.
Yeah, so I guess there's a few value picks. Like you said, it's all going to depend on. It's good that they're the first game, so we can kind of see what their batting order is going to be, and that will kind of maybe decide if you throw in a cheaper option, say a Larkin, if he's coming in at 3.
Well, that would next on my list. Joe Burns, Nick Larkin at 62,000. We'll really have to see how that plays out, and then it's really hard to tell because if you have anyone that is lower than batting 4, you kind of really don't want to rush them in. Like, I guess if they're 42,000, yeah, you get them in, you have them on your bench, but 62,000, I think there's a lot of options this year to go with to be able to pass these 62,000 type players.
And not carry him. Yeah, I think so too, because I think they could become a bit of a trap, especially someone like Joe Burns, who we know he just can't perform at the BPL, can't perform at Test either. But I think avoiding guys like that, and there is a lot of mid-range price guys that aren't playing the double that I think you should look ahead to. So I'm not really a fan of those selections.
Very good. Let's move on to a couple of questions, and then we'll move on to the Sydney Thunder. So we got, what are your top 3 wicket-keeper batsmen, lads? Jake, I'll start with you. There are a few options, mainly value.
We'll say that's available. That's available, yeah. No injured or test selections.
Yeah. Well, I think to begin the season, I think the 2 that everyone's pretty much going to have is going to be Matt Gilkes from the Thunder and Josh Inglis from the Scorchers. I think just in terms of value, you got your guns in Philippe, Matt Wade, somehow McDermott's still a wicket keeper. No, he does play wicket. Matt Wade is the one that, is that right? They always seem to spot. Always seem in the field.
They do.
But yeah, I'm going to go those 2 and probably Josh Philippe as my 3rd option. I think in terms of consistency, he's always there for the whole season, and he's quite highly owned already for someone who's only has a single game for the first few rounds.
I think it's funny you say, I think Josh Inglis 100% because he does bat at the top of the order, but all these are other value options I'm not super keen on because they bat 6 or 7, don't really get a bat, and they get 20 points in catches, and then that's all. They play a double game week and they get 30 points for the double game week. I think starting with someone like Josh Philippe, who can, even if the value options score 20 and 20, Josh Philippe can score 60 or 40 and then still score more than them in the double game week. So I think don't overlook the guns because there are double game options available that you can afford. I think just look at quality and look if the value is actually worth it, because say we had a Felipe at 90K, there's 100% value there. He's going to make money. Whereas Gilkes has been playing for 2 seasons now. Baxter Holt has been there for a season or so. And Josh Inglis had a down season last year, so I can forgive that. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Mikey, what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I agree with you. But I do think there's a lot of value in the wicketkeeper section. There's a lot of fallen guys that have been price high and aren't. I'll put Philippe at the top. I'm not going to include McDermott because of the price. I don't think I can put him in that category to start, although you want him. Sam Billings would be a nice pod. I think he'll play a massive role at the Heat, especially with Lynn not gone if he starts there. But the wicketkeeper I'm choosing with, I've gone for value. I think he's going to be one of the guys that are just going to resurrect this season. It's Matty Wade. I don't care if he's wearing the gloves. I don't care what he does. I just think he's out for a redemption season. He was pretty poor, and at 120K, he was my set and forget. He was probably one of my first picks. So he'll be my wicket keeper to start with. If Gilkes scores 70 or above, then I will just simply use that reversing to start with. But I'm happy with where Wade's sitting. And even someone like Sam Harper, I got my eye on. I think the Renegades did pretty good in the drafting, even with their replacement of Livingston. I think should keep a close eye on them. So, I'm keen on them. Keen on Harper.
Yeah, I like it. We've got another one here. Should a double game player be a captain? I think so.
Vice captain and captain, I think, especially for the first round.
I think vice captain, surely. You've got the loop there. Use it. But that being said, if there is only one team on the double, it's not 100% slam dunk. Like sometimes you got to take the risk of going the single week player. I guess that rolls into the next question, which will roll us into the Sydney Thunder. Matthew Gibson, does Sanger's poor form with the bat and Quadir signing plus Green in the side put a line through Sanger at that price? I'm not sure what Quadir and Green mean with Sanger. I think they were hoping Sanger would get a bowl, but I actually think Ollie Davies is more of a chance to get a bowl over Sanger. Ollie Davies played the Marsh Cup on the weekend and bowled 2 or 3 overs, and Sanger didn't bowl at all. So I think Ollie Davies is more of a chance to bowl.
Well,
What
could he even play in the side, boys? Because he's the 4th international signing that they've got. They've got Faruqi, they've got Hastings, and they've got Riley Rousseau. So realistically, Cadiz, I didn't think he's going to be in that side. Sorry for my pronunciation.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Yeah, do you think he's going to, Jake, Sabs? Will he even get a start?
I'm not too sure on the eligibility thing.
Because you can only have 3 playing. I thought he might have just been in case one of the other guys, like a 4th kind of thing.
Because he was kind of signed and brought in recently to cover Tanvi Sanger, who's out for the battling injury. He's out for the first couple of games. So I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. They could go him over Faruqi, because I'm really keen on him. But to the question on Sanger, I reckon he'll bowl. I don't know if Ollie Davies is going to get into that side, Savs. I know you think he might. I think he might be. I think he might be the 12th or 13th man. I'm not sure. I think the preferred cutting will get something there. Yeah. Look,
cutting wheel. Yeah, it's a tough one. Alex Ross is always a BBL specialist as well. So does
Sanger,
Alex Ross?
Hales, Gilks.
It's a stacked
I don't think
lineup.
he fits in. Yeah, the batting's pretty stacked from 1 to 6. I don't see Davies cracking in at the start.
He does mention Chris Green there. I'll start with him. Chris Green, 119,000. Shield debut, 9 wickets and 38 not out. What are our thoughts on Chris Green? We know he's been a gun in the past. He's kind of been in and out because of all these other competitions. What are your thoughts on Chris Green, Jake?
I don't know. He's sort of hasn't really set the world on fire for a whole season. He's kind of averaged 40 every single year. And that's kind of come with he hasn't really been one of their strike bowlers. He's kind of been their economy bowler. And that leaves it then for Tanvi Sanger or Daniel Sams to attack and get the wickets. So bats deep. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I'd probably prefer other bowlers at the Thunder over him. So I don't know, Mikey, Savs, do you have an opinion?
Nah, not at all.
Screen?
There's so many good options that I think you could pick from the Thunder, and he's not one of them. I prefer nearly all the other bowlers.
I like him. Tanveer Sanger was one of the better bowlers for the competition last year, and they're going to need someone like that. And I think Chris Green,
he's their captain.
His game is developed.
Really spin the ball like Tanvi Sanger.
Yeah, nah, you can't compare.
It's exactly what you need for BBL. Someone that doesn't spin it and has variations. I don't know. I haven't been the biggest fan of Chris Green in the past, but I don't know. I just think from what I've seen leading up to this, and this could be my undoing because I always like what I see and I put that into my SuperCoach side. You guys got numbers.
You go with your heart.
And this is why you guys do so well in SuperCoach because you just look at the numbers. And
I got statistics purely, and it's worked. So go numbers. Don't try and risk it too hard. The ones that you're risking it on have backing behind it. Like, if Nathan McAndrew is going to be in that side, I prefer him for 100K because there's always that one player that you don't expect to get wickets that does, like Tom Rogers last year, and I could see Nathan McAndrew doing that in the first game, jagging 2 or 3. They are playing the Stars to start. So if I'm right and I think they're going to not play too well, you know what I mean? Those guys are going to do it. Even Brendan Doggett, who sometimes like to go on a wicket run. So
that's a fair point. It's a fair point. All right, we're going to start with we've got some guns here. So we've got the internationals, Riley Rousseau and Alex Hales. They're probably going to open the batting right. So 105,000.
I don't think Riley Rousseau. I think he'll come.
He'll bat at 4, 3 or 4.
4.
Yeah, Gilks and Hales that worked last year, and then it'll be number 3. I assume will be
Sanger or Rousseau.
As Rousseau and then Sanger. Yeah, that'll be a 3 and 4.
Yeah, okay,
for sure. I don't think Riley Rousseau would open. Even when he played for the Renegades last season, was it? He always come out at about 4.
Yeah, fair
for BBL. So
I guess we'll start with Alex Hales, Jake. Your favorite. Are you going to start with him? He always ends the competition hot. Doesn't start too well, but he's played in Australia for a few months now, and we saw how he ended the World Cup. 52, 47, 86 not out, and 1. He's been in Australia for a few months. That is a massive advantage, and I think that means he's going to more chance of starting hot than finishing hot. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, just I saw his form. Take out the one, but I saw his form for England, and yeah, 100% going with Alex Hales. Only 130 in a double game week. He could score 120 points in just one game. So you're taking the percentages here that surely he goes big in one of those games, if not both. So I think Alex Hales is going to be pretty important for most teams. I don't think you can miss him. Yeah. Going forward, especially because he has double game week in a row. So
yeah, Mikey, the fact that he's been in Australia for a few months playing cricket, does that come into your consideration at all, or would your decision with him be no different?
Yeah, it'd be no different. Like, yeah, it's more green ticks for me for him, but yeah, either way, he'd be in my side. I think you'd be crazy in any season to run a double game week without Hales. He's always featured heavily in my success, and he's always in my side for these big weeks. And he'll be a bit of a smoky for me as a VC. I'm very tempted to do it over. Like, I'm going to take risks from the start, and my risk from the start will more so be, instead of going Sam's, to go someone like Hales, who I love being on a batter as a VC. Like, I've been on McDermott when he went absolutely bananas last season, and I feel like it's always trying to picture that. Can he go big from first game? That's what the question marks. That's where people like Sam's, I think, could really, like, if a few early wickets go, that's when people like Sam's are going to be a good VC. But yeah, set and forget Hales, get him in there, 130k. He was real mixed last season, so that price is a steal for him, and it enables you to get a lot of other guns because he could be valued at 200k just like that.
Jake, Riley Rossouw, World Cup campaign was a quite successful one. Here are his last few scores in the international T20 game: 96 not out, 31, 0, 0, 100 not out, 109, 0, 7, 25. So he's a very hit or miss player. Is he someone you are considering at all?
I think I'll probably grab him if he, 3 or 4. I think the fact that he can go, I know it's up and down, but he plays 4 games in 2 rounds, so surely out of those ones he gets an up more often than that.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I'm looking at him. I've kind of got a spare Thunder player, or maybe Thunder or Stars to spend around that 110k mark, and Riley Rossouw, like Mikey was sort of saying, I think he might be one of the players that start on the bench for me with the emergency. If he goes all right in the first game, he'll end up straight in my side. So yeah, I think the form, although it's not constant, it shows that he can have massive games. And if you can do it on the international stage, surely can do it in the BBL.
Mikey, you mentioned Daniel Sams as a possible captain option for round 1. Does that mean he's 100% in your side from round 1?
So VC, yeah, 100%. It'd be too scary to go without Sams. Gets lots of wickets, and if the order collapses, he's the kind of guy that they'll just, Sams go out there and he'll crack a quick 30. So, which is excellent for SuperCoach. I think it's too dangerous not to have him. And quickly going back to Riley Rossouw, I'm also on him. I've kind of just done a live kind of switcheroo and put him on the bench because he does come with risk. But I think if for some reason he went knocked back in the order, then Alex, you could just go down to Alex Ross. And I never have Alex Ross in these double game weeks. But if it's an early Thunder collapse, he's the guy that always saves them. So I think he's also a bit of a pod. He's
so much like John O'Wells, eh? Just that guy.
The savior.
Just the guy that comes in and he's just single.
Oh, and then he can just start whacking him. But yeah, to go back to Sam's, look, he starts at 179, batter, bowler, and to start for this round, I don't think there's too many all-rounders that you can pick for top shelf from the Thunder strikers and stars that are definitely going to do both. And Sam's is that one player that, he's going to bowl the 4 overs and, he'll come out and bat pretty well, depending on how well the batters go. If the batters go well, he might not even come out and bat, but he's just shown in the past that not having him is detrimental. So he's going to be highly owned. Just get him in there, and he'll be probably the most popular VC, I reckon, one of the most popular.
I really don't think Jilks is going to open.
I'm willing to put a wager on it. I reckon he will.
You reckon he will?
He opened all last season, Did they make the finals, Jake, or they got close around to it? Like they come. Jukes did pretty good. Like he had a few off seasons, and last season he kind of stepped into his own. And I think put him with Hales, and then start to bring in the big guns. Like if he can, he was getting some quick 30s and 40s in like not many balls. So and then if he falls, bang, bring in your Sanger, bring in your Russo. You got Alex Ross. I reckon for sure he opens. Well, who are you thinking?
I don't know. I think maybe Sanger opens, possibly. I think
Never opened last year.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't.
And I don't think he really opened. He doesn't bat that high in Shield cricket, does he? Sanger.
Who?
Sanger. Jason Sanger.
He bats 3. He bats 3. So fucking shut up.
Goes to my background.
Yeah. Oh my god, them birds are going crazy.
The animals are getting fed. Sorry, boys.
That's all right. Oh, it's funny. Classic Mike and Savs days, eh?
Well, we've been kicked out here, so there's nothing I can do.
Nah, that's all right. So we've got the cheapies as well: Jilks, Holt, and Davies.
I don't think Holt's going to be in that team.
So I know
Holt won't be in the side.
Obviously, if Jilks plays, Holt won't be in the side. But if it's Jilks, Hales, Sanger, Rosso, Sam's, Cutting, Green, is that what it's going to be? You reckon?
Ross. Or Ross, you forgot about Ross.
Ross, maybe Ollie Davies.
And then you've got, probably Faruqi, the bowler, however you say his name. He'll be in there with
you should know.
Who?
Faruqi.
I have no idea. I've never seen any of these international players play.
So he come with a lot of hype. He was at the World Cup. He went absolutely crazy, and he comes in at 105, and he went straight into my side because you forgot to mention him in internationals. Is he medium pace or?
Nah, fast medium.
Fast medium.
Good Yorker.
Yeah, and then I think the other bowling spot 100% will be McAndrew or Doggett. One of them will be in there. McAndrew seems to keep getting picked in the side. So, yeah, they'll be your bowlers. And, yeah, at the price, 105K, I think, Faruqi, If it's the other guy that gets picked, then no, I'm not keen. But, Faruqi, I'm all over. He's in my side at the moment at 105K, just purely on how he went at the World Cup. He did really well.
That McAndrew Doggett spot, I feel like either of them are really good death bowlers as well. So they're really good options as well, considering they got the 2 doubles starting off.
McAndrew's cheap. He's like 100K. Doggett's 145 because he went on that crazy run where he got like 4 wickets in the last couple of games. So, but yeah, look, the Thunder, I think you could pick basically anyone in that 1 to 11 except for maybe your Green. I wouldn't pick Green, not at all. And and Cutting. I just don't know. He's going to bat too late. He's not going to bowl too many overs.
They did a bit last with Cutting. He could be a bit of a wild card to potentially open.
He could.
They do it every now and then, but
last year he could be
not at the start. But
two of the big hitters like Hales and Cutting up there. I think they're going to get more of it.
I think I've kind of more so talked like if Riley Russo starts slow, like I really like Alex Ross. I think he could be a real super pod for you because he's just Mr. Fix It, and he fixes it 9 times out of 10 because the Sydney Thunder love a collapse. They love it. They love to Hales gets 20 off 4 balls and then bang, he's out the next one. That happened all last year.
It's so funny. Players like him and Jono Wells, no one wants to go near them, but they always score well because their teams always collapse.
And for the price, I feel like a gamble like that could be worth it. Like he could be the perfect auto emergency thing. If Riley Russo bats deep, I could do the late switcheroo because talking myself into it.
All right, let's move on to the next double game week side, which is the Adelaide Strikers. I guess we'll lead this into a topic first before we start. Double game week players, are we completely stacking up? I know we said 9 to 11 before, but is there anyone from anywhere that you're considering having in your side that isn't playing the double?
Oh, of course. So
but those players will kind of only be if the double week player kind of doesn't go well. So there's a good chance that they end up on my bench. So I'm not going to spend a lot of money on them.
Yeah.
For the first couple of rounds, I'm definitely going to be targeting the double game week players. So I'm not really going any of the big guns, say like Sean Abbott, from the get-go. I sort of hope that the price drops, pick them up when it's kind of suitable, with the run of games, with the double game weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I've stacked up. I've got 8 in my playing side. I've got 3 on the bench, and you might think, Michael, you're tunnel visioning for one round, but it's not the case. I'm actually holding Ty on my bench at the moment, which is costing me 156k, and that's to be one step ahead. I've got 2 Scorchers on my bench. I'm also holding a Brisbane Heat, so I'm thinking forward ahead to round 3, and then I'm also starting with Raymond, so Majib, which is also a double game week. Majib's a double game week after that, so. With that plan, I've been able to try and get a really good start, but I've got a 5-round plan. So I'm thinking 5 games ahead. So, and that's what I mean with all the mid-range and low prices. There's so many good players around the 100k mark. I'm all over switching and doing that around. That's why I've gone light on the Melbourne Stars to allow that kind of plan. So I think, with 3 teams on the bye, I think you could fall behind pretty fast if all those big players go massive. Like that's why, it's just too risky not to load up with 8 or 9.
I agree. I think it's just way too risky to not load up. You've got to at least have 8 or 9. I reckon 7 or 8 absolute minimum, but you've got to have the right players at least. And from the Adelaide Strikers, they've got a few of the right players, but Jake, I want to have a little debate with you to Matt Short or to not. I'm honestly on the not fence. Where are you at?
Look, I'm on the not sure fence. I think straight away, when that kind of got released with all the price and that, I asked you, I was like, what do we think Matt Short's role going to be? Is he going to be bowling, 4 overs or how many? I guess that's the big question. He's playing the same role he did last year, bowling 4 overs, batting first, which he probably will anyway. Then I think he's got to be a lock for the double game week. But I think the main one's going to be if Cam Boyce gets a spot with Rashid Khan. If Cam Boyce not there, I think Matt Short's probably going to be an all right. It's just going to be what their team matchup is, to whether Matt Short. But I think I'm going to play him. Saz, why are you steering the other way?
I'm sitting the other way because he had the perfect role last year, opening the batting, opening the bowling, and he'd bowl an over or 2 at the end sometimes too. So I think he cannot get any better than he was last year. That being said, if he plays exactly the same role as he did last year, then I think he's a great pickup. But with players like they've got Henry Thornton, Cameron Boyce, Rashid Khan, Wes Agard. There's also Colin de Gronholm has signed with the Adelaide Strikers as well. He might get a few overs. He might take that over at the start instead of Matt Short because he can swing the ball. That's something they never had before, a bowler that can swing the ball. So it's very interesting, and I don't know which way they're going to go. I just think he's going to bowl less overs. Mikey, I see you itching your tonsil box there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm all over him. I understand they're all valid points, but it's just too risky not to go with him. He's a player that can. The way he was scoring last year wasn't just the wickets; it was the economy rate from him batting. And last season, like he went from just this guy that wasn't performing in BBL to this absolute Superman of a player, and not having him in your side was detrimental. So he'll come out there, he'll bat number 1. I think he can get a good economy rate, and I still think with that bowling lineup, if all those players you mentioned get in there, I'll be a little worried, but I still think he can get 2 overs. He was taking a lot of early wickets in the first kind of 4, like the power play and all that kind of stuff. In the first 4 overs. So, yeah, look, he's very expensive, but purely for me, Matt Short is only in that side for that double. He will be getting traded. He'll be funding the Mitch Marsh trade. So I'll be going Matt Short to Mitch Marsh or Richardson, and that's why for me it's a no-brainer to start with him just from what he can do and what not having him would do to my side. So personally too, depending on that lineup, he'll be my captain. Just for what he can do. You've got to try and get these guys that can do both. And although it be a bit of a risk, I think yet again Rashid Khan will be the very popular option. And if he did so well last season, why would you want to change his role too much? Give him a chance to kind of do that, and then if he doesn't do well, then they can change it. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards, it costs a lot of money. I get your point, Sav, but yeah, for me, he's a lock.
I like that you have a plan around it, though. The fact that you know Mitch Marsh is an expensive player, and you need to get him in round 2 if you want to bank them points. So I like that you have a plan there, and that'd be something I'd consider too, because he's someone that is expendable, don't you reckon?
Yeah, the negative is, what if he does go absolutely crazy and then they're not on the buy round 2? You don't want to get rid of him. But for me, no matter what, I'm getting rid of him for round 2 because the strikers have the buy in round 3. And if you have these players, I purely keep certain players just for the buy round. I chase all these double game weeks. You've got to. And then on top of that, you just try and always plan ahead. Like, I'm always getting a player for the double. That's purely how I play BBL SuperCoach, and it seems to work. So it's all about having those big ones and then choosing a couple of pods in between.
Well, it's very good that we have a difference of opinion for one player. All of us have a different point of view. How about Rashid Khan? Do we all sit on the same boat for him? He's only here for 5 rounds. Is that right, Jake?
I think it might be a bit longer than that.
Maybe 7 or something.
Yeah,
but
it's majority. I think it's around January that he kind of leaves. End of January,
yeah, so
January.
he's not here for long. 193,000. Great leg spinner.
He's got.
I don't know. I don't think his batting is going to be something to take into consideration this year, like the years past. But Rashid Khan, do we have him in our side?
100%. He's probably the best 2020 bowler. I think you can't not have him. Just every year he does it. I think you can't not have him.
And every year he takes a hat trick. Like you can't not have him. Like, he literally. Yeah, I've been saying the whole podcast, like, not having this guy will kill you. He'll kill you. You have to have him.
No need to dwell on that then. Cameron Boyce, 171,000.
Expensive.
Starting with him. Is that an option, or is he someone we kind of target after Rashid Khan leaves?
I don't know his role. I don't know if I don't know if they play the 2 spinners plus Matt Short. I don't know if they want. I mean, it worked so well last year having four pace bowlers. So or 3.
He'll bowl a lot early, I reckon. Bowl early and save Rashid till later. And the thing is, I could do with Cameron Boyce, but I don't think I can have Boyce, Khan, and Short. So it'd be between Short and Boyce, and Short offers the batting. Just purely, I'm looking at price range. I think it'd be too expensive to have 197, 193, and 171 all from the same side.
It's very true. You can't spend that much on one side. What if they get pizzled and bloody the score's none for 230 and no one takes wickets? Like, that is not a great day out. We've got some value options here. I think the strikers actually hold quite a bit of value.
They got heaps of value options.
The first one we got to start off with. The best.
You nearly forgot about him. You nearly forgot about him till you saw him in our sides.
Oh, yeah, true. No, but
yeah, I know what you're going to say.
That was when BBL SuperCoach opened. I've had a while to have a look at it now, so there's no way I'm not starting without this guy. The best player in BBL SuperCoach history. Maybe not SuperCoach BBL history, but the best player in BBL history.
Very delayed drum roll.
I don't have a drum roll here, but Chris Lynn. Chris Lynn, 112,000. Are we starting with him?
Yeah, no brainer. 112K, and what's his role going to be at the strikers? Fresh club might, get him back on the train because he had a pretty crappy last season. But how can you not run with Chris Lynn for a double? Like 112K. Where will he bat? What number do you reckon he'll bat?
I'm not sure if he's going to
open there. No.
He might open. He might bat 3. Maybe 3.
Because what does Colin do? I don't know too much about Colin de Grandhomme.
No.
Mid order.
That's 5.
Weatherall could open. He was batting at 3 and 4 last year. If he might not even make the side, but yeah, you're probably right. It's probably Lynn or surely Weatherall. I think those two.
Lynn probably comes in at 3. They always tend to start the season opening with Weatherall, and then when he comes out of form, he goes down the order, then starts to kill it again, and then goes back up the order. Yeah, I think regardless, the role is still good. He's an explosive batsman, and I think the emergence of Matt Short means that Chris Lynn doesn't have to be the guy that is relied on all the time. And I think that's going to help for him.
He can just go out there and just play his kind of game where Matt Short will kind of be the fire cannon kind of player. So yeah, it's a very good point.
I really like it. Jake Weatherald, 87,000. This is another value prospect. You love Jake Weatherall. You've always had him in your side every year, Mikey. It's always the same time of year. It's always the second double game week towards the end of the season.
He seems to always come in at the right price, and he's just that kind of player. He done it in the final. He can just go absolutely massive. And he's another one of my picks for undervalued, one of the most undervalued. Obviously, he only warrants a selection if he gets in that 1 to 4. But I'm having a look at their side in the batting. They're a bit short on some batters with Head and Carey both out. So I reckon for sure he's going to bat in that 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 range, and anywhere in that, because he did bat a bit of 4 and 3 last season. I think. Yeah, he'll have to bat in the first 4. So I'm keen on him at either of those spots purely for that starting price, and he'll be a bit of a pod as well. So having these kind of guys allows you to get like a Richardson or a Ty to hold for the second round, or allows you to not have any 60k cheapies that might not play. I think it's a key. So yeah, I'm all over Weatherald. What about you, Jake?
No, I'm still burnt by him last year when he had a double game week and he scored 10 points in 2 games. He didn't bat in one of them and then might have even got a catch or something. And again, maybe if he opens, he's not the most, I guess, big hitting player, so he's not going to get much economy points. But yeah, I've looked at him and based on last season and kind of he's been in awful form. I'm like, nah, I'm going elsewhere. But I might reconsider if I see his name up the top of Matt Short opening, though.
Yeah, it'd be hard not to go there, especially with the way Matt Short bats. He could play a bit of a level head kind of role. So, yeah, I'm curious to know how they go. They've got a very good bowling lineup, and their batting can be really good too. So, keen to see how they go.
Honestly, I'm not going to start with him. I think he's just not going to be the guy. He's not going to be the guy. Like, he could be an anchor type role that could get 30 and then get out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not keen on him, but I see the appeal. Colin de Grandhomme.
Just need him to do a job for the double, and then you can put him to the bench and piss him off.
For sure. Colin de Grandhomme, 125,000. A lot of people are keen on him, but a lower order batsman might not bowl 4 overs. Jake, what are your thoughts on Colin?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be the role that kind of makes him. I'm not going to say much of a trap, but not a player that's really going to benefit you too much at that price. I think I'd rather drop down to a cheaper player, say 40k or 30, whatever, and spend that elsewhere or save that for the next round. Bat 5, potentially not 4 overs. He's quite old. I know he's kind of retired from a lot of cricket, so I think he's quite old. So yeah, I had him when it first opened. I put him in there, but I was like, did a bit of looking. I was like, nah, I'm going to fade this guy.
I think them Pakistani bowlers from the Thunder are a lot more appealing than someone like de Grandhomme, because he just the role isn't. Yeah, it might not be great. Guys, what are we on to? Harry Nielsen, 62,000. He should keep with Carey out. What are our thoughts on him? What have you ever?
He was awful.
He comes in at 7 and gets 0. So
he was a cheapie last season, and he sucked. Like, he just never bat too high. Like, never again. Like, he'll be someone that you'll struggle to get rid of.
He's pretty much just a wicket keeper. He's a good wicket keeper. No,
very good wicket keeper.
Days, but he's just not really a keeper.
You get all your points from catches, but yeah, don't expect him to get much with the bat. Like, Rashid Khan's got a better chance than he does.
Agree.
Although a cheapie that potentially could be all right is Harry Conway if he gets a spot for the strikers. I think he's.
How does he not bowl 4 overs? Like, every season he comes in, bowls a bit too. Like, he needs to be somewhere that'll let him bowl 4 overs, because you're 100%. If you knew he was locked in to 4 overs, straight in your side at 73k.
Because I think how he kind of finished the season, he was outstanding. He was bowling death overs, but it was through the final, so they weren't SuperCoach relevant
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, 100%.
So he finished off really well. And if they go with what worked for him in the finals, I think, he's potentially undervalued. But then they've got Wes Agar there. They've got
Thornton, Boyce, Khan.
Yeah.
They've got too many
It's
bowlers.
just going to
And
be the makeup of the bowlers.
where will Adam Hose? So Adam Hose has come from England.
Batsman. Yeah, he's England.
He's a batsman. We haven't spoken about him. He'll probably go in that 5 to 6 order. There's no John O'Wells there anymore. So he'll probably come in at or 5. So that could also push Weverill down a bit. He's at 105k. I don't really know much about him. Sabs, you know anything about Hose?
Oh, I don't, to be honest. I know a lot of international players. I don't watch a lot of T20 overseas stuff. I think it's shit. The BBL's kind of shit too, but it's in Australia, so we watch it.
Sav's an old fashioned. He's an old fashioned.
Yeah, I'm looking
90
forward.
overs. It's got to be 90 overs and 5 days.
I'm looking forward to Test cricket tomorrow, mate. All right. Are we gonna go into the Renegades, or you reckon?
It's getting late.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to duck off. If you want to do it, I'm gonna have to duck off. I got work early, but
let's finish it off there. We'll finish it off there, and we'll get into the Renegades next week, and then see where we are with that next week. Cheers for tuning in, guys. Glad to be back for the BBL season. And we've never done a BBL season consistently. It's always kind of been, we just need a break, but it kind of feels like this is what we need to do.
We'll try, and if me and Jake start to go bad in the rankings, I will stop because I'm going to blame the podcast if I start going back. But Sabs, I noticed we haven't done a SuperCoach Experience group code yet. Is that something we're going to do before season starts? Because obviously Kane has started to put things up there, and I thought maybe we should.
I guess so. With these types of things, I never see the importance in them, but I think if
people want to try and see how we're going and want to try and beat us three, then
I think it's good for that. It kind of shows a rank wise with all the people that sort of do it, because you get in the rank wise and you see your rank, but you got to think that a lot of those players are kind of the back end don't take it too seriously as to what your people would be joining.
And I know a lot of other guys are offering prizes and that for the BBL. Obviously, we won't be doing anything like that, but to jump in, just a bit of fun if anyone's got a spare.
We actually got some,
unless Sabs does, but he might.
We got some things. We got a BBL SuperCoach Championship ring.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
We had two from last season, and because we didn't do the podcast, it kind of faded, and I wasn't able to give it away. I've still got it; they're still sealed. Let's give that away. Let's give that away.
We've got a ring.
We've got two of them. We've got two of them. So
Kane don't know if you're listening, mate. Chuck us in that little sheet thing.
We'll
get it made up.
We'll try and source out some other prizes as well, and we'll get back to you guys next week. But we'll make sure we put that up. We'll put it up on our socials, and I guess we start somewhere. Cheers for tuning in. Cheers, Jake. Cheers, Mikey. We'll be here every Tuesday, and obviously lockout's going to be a bit tough, but if it's not
do the best we can.
If it's not lockout, if it's not lockout, it'll be Tuesday. I guess we'll aim for that. Cool. Firstly, Mikey, before we go, Team Picker podcast, did you listen to it? And what are your hot picks for the NRL Team Picker?
Yeah, I listened to it. A good podcast. Getting my head a bit around it, but been focusing on BBL. Probably vanilla. I kind of agree with your ones, but I'm all over Luke Garner. It's starting second row. I know it's my side, but I'm telling you, whoever picks up that edge spot, even if Sorensen started there, but I'm telling you, Garner in that Penrith system is going to be great. I agree with you, Sabs. I think Schuster's going to be a steal. There's some interesting ones switching. My hot takes is I'm definitely going to be loading up on 2-gun halfbacks. I'm going to be going Hines and Cleary. It's like back in the season where you had to kind of go Turbo and Teddy. It's going to be hard for people to do that. So, and I'm going to take one out of your book. Even though everyone else isn't, I'm keen on Tommy Turbo to start purely because of prize, and I can go the 2-gun halves, and I'm feeling so many people are going to be scared that I'm going to zig while the others zag. So, I'm keen for it to get started. But I haven't really dipped into the pods yet because I just want to focus on BBL.
I know we're talking about BBL, and I'm sorry, but I'm so excited. Manly are going to be hot they're going to be hot to start the year. I guarantee you. I saw Anthony Seibold in the Manly t-shirt this morning, and Jesus, there's a good feel around the club. I can feel it. I can feel it.
I don't know, Sabs, but don't they have a really tough draw?
We'll have to buy around too, so I guess I get some points,
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm keen for it to start, but so we'll probably get player prices and stuff Christmas. But yeah, check
Very
out Jake's
soon.
team picker if you haven't.
Very soon. Actually, I was going to start the podcast with that. NRL usually starts around January. I don't know what we're going to do there because we'll still be doing BBL podcast, so we'll have to cross that bridge when it comes. But I love talking about NRL. It's so good.
Sorry to our AFL listeners that are probably tuning in for the BBL one.
AFL listeners.
Oh, if they're starting to listen for the BBL podcast, a lot of those guys come over from AFL.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
Probably not yet, but they will one day.
All right. Cheers, guys. And thanks. Thanks, lads.
so.